What if I told you that there's a museum where you can relive your favorite toys, play Pac-Man, walk down Sesame Street, and step on a giant piano, all under one roof? From toddlers to grandparents, there's something here for every generation, and we're about to explore why this just might be the very best play museum in the country. From the moment you step inside, it's clear that this isn't your average museum. It's massive, colorful, completely interactive. Sometimes a Hall of Fame is just a quiet room of artifacts. Sometimes a museum focuses only on the origins of what we experienced growing up. And sometimes a children's museum is just a place for kids to climb, crawl, and burn off energy. Too often, those kinds of places stop there. Fun, sure, but they could be forgettable. But not here. The Strong Museum doesn't just bring all those ideas together, it reimagines them. It's immersive, nostalgic, creative, and packed with surprises around every corner for every generation. And it all starts here, with the first of 3 Halls of Fame on site, with a look at the toys that shaped the way that we play. The Toy Hall of Fame started in 1998 and celebrates toys that inspire creativity and innovation, from classics to curiosity.
Easy bake oven. The stick makes a good toy, right?
Your log.
Log. One of the great things about the Toy Hall of Fame is that really a toy is anything that can be played with, as indicated by the inductee of 2005. Not Candyland, but yes, the cardboard box. A timeline of toys. Including the stick, the ball, kite, jacks, marbles, dominoes, even blanket.
But what about the people who brought these toys to life? Just beyond the Toy Hall of Fame is a tribute to the inventors, designers, and entrepreneurs who turned play into an entire industry. From the creator of Barbie to the minds behind Lego and Nintendo, and even George Lucas for merchandising movies. This space celebrates the visionaries who changed how generations of kids and adults experience fun. You may not recognize every name, but you will definitely recognize the impact.
2025 inductees to the Toy Industry Hall of Fame. Individuals who have made marks on the toy industry. The inventor of the Rubik's Cube, Erno Rubik. Edwin Lowe, who took Beano and transformed it into Bingo. He also created Yahtzee. The founder of the Tinker Toy Company.
While the Toy and Toy Industry Halls of Fame anchor this space, the museum goes much, much deeper. Whether a toy was inducted or not, you'll find displays that explore how we've played across decades and how those toys helped spark creativity, problem solving, and imagination through every generation.
Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here.
Children still played in the midst of the Great Depression and in the midst of wartime. And from the high-tech world of video games of the modern times, we have even as early as the 1500s. Replica baby houses. quilts and blankets, stitching. And then, of course, sorry, I'm a Star Wars guy. But this museum is so fascinating and amazing. I mean, it talks about what is violent play, is it bad, overcoming fears, make-believe, and mashing up characters that typically don't belong together in the same fictional universe, but you create your own players, your own play ideas, your own characters. It is imagination. And children need to develop their imagination. And adults need to use their imagination. And that is how problems get solved, is by simply using the same tools that you develop as a child.
Some of the most iconic play experiences may come from the toy aisle. Action figures, costumes, collectibles, but they were born from comic books, movie screens, and animated shows that sparked our imaginations. This section brings all of that to life, with bold colors, comic-style environments, and familiar heroes from across generations. You'll see characters from both Marvel and DC, classic comic styles and modern movie versions, and a range of heroes representing different genders, races, and backgrounds. It's not just about nostalgia, it's about showing how heroes have evolved and how play lets us connect to those stories in our own way.
To climb like a superhero, and of course Batman is here, like the old 60s Batman and Robin with the batarangs, climbing up the building.
And if you're feeling brave, the Superpower School is your training ground, where kids can test their agility, strength, balance, and heroic skills, just like their favorite characters.
Of course, we have DC villain Pez. You want to check out our visit to the Pez Visitor Center in Orange, Connecticut? Click the link.
Before we were glued to screens, board games were how we gathered, around tables, on floors, sometimes for hours, rolling dice, flipping cards, and trying to outwit our friends and family. This section is a colorful tribute to the classics, from Candyland to Monopoly, from Trivial Pursuit to Operation, and it's not just the household names. There are deep cuts, vintage editions, and even oversized versions you can walk through or play hands-on. Board games aren't just entertainment. They're about strategy, creativity, cooperation, and sometimes just learning how to lose gracefully. And like the rest of the museum, this area doesn't just celebrate the games themselves. It celebrates the memories we make playing them. Whether you're reliving a childhood favorite or discovering one you missed, it's a reminder that the simplest games can leave the biggest impressions.
Magic the Gathering. I've never played Magic the Gathering. Frankly, I've never played Dungeons & Dragons either. If any of you have a favorite game, set it down in the comments. I'll see if I can post a picture of it. I'm sure it is here at the Strong Museum of Play. Sign it. And a giant game of Chutes and Ladders. I think the answer is Peyton Manning, and I get the orange wedge. So the Strong Museum of Play has a very interesting question. Is fishing play? In other words, can sport and play be the same? Games, sports ultimately are games of competition amongst others that typically involve athletic achievement and competition and skill. But ultimately, it is a game that you play competitively.
Of course, the Strong Museum may have plenty of experiences that might feel familiar if you visited other children's museums, climbing areas, creative zones, sensory stations, trains, but Strong brings them together at such a massive scale.
Any good play museum is going to have interactive play.
Oh, man, this...
The play neighborhoods, make-believe storefronts, all of it encourages storytelling, imagination, and movement. So, while they may be features at other play museums or children's museums, they also rightfully belong here as part of an overall narrative and the full, complete museum that Strong is.
Any good play museum is going to have a spot for the little ones. This one here is for the Berenstain Bears, but they have more as well.
So you're going to draw the color on the sheet, and you're going to take it over to that thing over there, and you're going to flip it over.
For generations, Sesame Street has helped kids learn their letters, numbers, and life lessons, all through the power of play and imagination. At the Strong, you can step right onto the famous stoop, visit familiar storefronts, and reconnect with the neighborhood that taught us all how to grow up kind. With a nice wave and hello from Big Bird himself. If toys helped shape the way we imagined, and board games brought us all together, video games completely changed the way that we play. More than just a pastime, video games became a cultural force, a technological and artistic revolution that transformed entertainment, storytelling, and even social interaction. This section traces that evolution from pixelated pioneers like Pong and the Atari 2600 to the rise of consoles like the NES and Sega Genesis, and into the immersive cinematic worlds of today, With each new system and every new generation of players, video games didn't just reflect the times, they pushed them forward. And it's only fitting that a museum dedicated to the power of play gives this revolutionary medium the spotlight that it deserves.
Anybody have a particular pinball that they played at a particular location? And of course, it's a museum. But what could this pinball do? It enhances and sharpens hand-eye coordination. It does. The reflexes involved. I never had a particular pinball favorite. I mean, I've played pinball, but pinball was never my thing. I was always, as a child of the 80s and the 90s, I was more of a video game guy, as opposed to the child of the 60s and 70s would be more into pinball than the video games. But the design of pinball, inside pinball games, and then early pinball, quite literally, pinball. And then eventually adding the bumpers, and then adding the flippers. Of course, arcade games that you can play here at the Museum of Play. Electrified play, using electricity with electric bells, popping electromagnets or solenoids to attract. Old arcade games, penny arcades, this Museum of Play just goes on and on. All types of games, video games, pinball machines, modern, old. The height of the popularity of arcade games in the 80s. I played these games as part of the Atari 2600 at home. Classic. Here is Pong. Absolutely. Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat. I never played the X-Men game, but NBA Jam Daytona USA, absolutely in the 90s. This was my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. This was my jam. Handheld football. I had this. I don't know how old it was when I was playing it, but I was in the 80s. And you can play it here. Even some apps on your phone have made it to the Strong Museum of Play, Fruit Ninja, and Temple Run. And of course, in the video arcade section, you will find a calendar of arcade video games, the first 50 years from the 1970s. Starting from Computer Space and Pong to the present day.
They also sparked national debates. It's a reminder that play doesn't exist in a vacuum. It reflects and sometimes challenges the world around us.
That they have that available to they returned. So you don't think that they should be allowed in the town at all? They should be restricted by hours of the day. We have asked
When board game manufacturers used the craze of video games to increase their sales. Age of Empires. Using the idea of Age of Empires to talk about how computer games, online gaming can be built, how popular they can become, being able to utilize real-time strategy where action truly never stops because you are continually working, continually interacting from one part of a game to another part of a game, as every action that you take involves a reaction from some other type, from some other side. The music involved in video games is also explored here as well.
With a huge section on video games, at the same place that has the Toy Hall of Fame, it would of course be fitting that there would be a World Video Game Hall of Fame on site as well.
The console section was fascinating, just seeing the consoles through the years, the different types of video games and arcade games through the years. But here, the Video Game Hall of Fame. Atari, when I was a young child, we had an Atari 2600 at home, and that this popularized bringing video games into the house, into the household. Still have some of my favorite Atari games. I mean, I don't physically have them, but I remember them, and I remember which my favorites were. I enjoyed playing Enduro, the racing game. I enjoyed playing Joust, Space Invaders, of course. Several others. And then, of course, Nintendo took it from there. Video games protect patents. Atari 2600. I played Pitfall. I played Donkey Kong. I didn't play E.T. The history of the interaction of video games and society in general. Japan, United States, Europe, government intervention, questions about warning labels, all from the 70s onward to today.
From retro toys and superheroes to arcade classics and imaginative play, the Strong Museum of Play is more than just a place for kids. It's a celebration of everything we loved growing up and everything new we get to discover with the next generation. And this is just the beginning of our trip through Rochester, New York. Next up, one of the wildest food traditions in the United States, the legendary garbage plate. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button if you've had a favorite toy in this video, and drop a comment below telling us what you'd like to put in the Toy Hall of Fame. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.